Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. How you doing? All right, this is a horrific one. We are up to case 4. We are in episode 45, which covers the end of March up through the beginning of April. And we have had the trial of Trezell West and Jacqueline West start. If you are unfamiliar with the case of the Wests, let me just say from the beginning, highly recommend you go to Dutyron, Dutyrron. Dutyron is a retired New York police officer. He has followed this case. He has gotten to know the biological parents of, they were known as the West Boys, Oren and Orson, but we're going to call them Sincere and Classic because that was their birth name by their family, who I think was the only people to truly love them, which is horrific. Again, we have another case where, we have a case that's opposite, where instead, kind of like the Harmony Montgomery case, but where the authorities take children, but it's like out of the fire and into the frying pan. So here's their beautiful little faces. Look how cute they are. They are little cherubs. And they are brothers. They have different fathers, but they do have the same mother, and the mother's family loved them. And the grandmother, when there were allegations that Sincere was abused, she was like, I'll take the boys. And for some reason in Kern County, California, they were like, that's Bakersfield, California. They were like, no, we're not going to give it to the family. We're just going to, the boy's legs were broken, but the mom had left him with a babysitter. So instead of them looking at the babysitter, I don't know, it was the mom's fault. I don't know what they're doing in Kern County. And we had that other thing of where the people grabbed the people to do inappropriate things with the children. I don't know what Kern County is doing. I don't. But what I do know is that from everything I heard, and which granted is, I'm just a YouTuber listening to a lot of people. Although I look up a lot, you know what I mean? I did not do forensic interviews with these people. So, but I don't know why the grandparents or some other relative wasn't allowed. And then, according to what the biological family said, and again, not sure, could they be lying? Maybe. I don't know. But Dutyron has vetted them, and he is a police officer, and he seems to be cogent as well as discerning about what he believes. So I trust him as a source. And could he be wrong? Sure. But the story, as I understand it, the facts are that because Sincere had been taken out of the home when the mom became pregnant and had Classic, now I don't know if she tested for anything, or I don't know what the impetus was, but immediately they removed Classic as well because, and what they said the excuse was because they wanted to keep siblings together, which I find odd that you rip them out of the mom, the biological mother, because she lost one. So, I've never heard of that before. In fact, there's horror stories of women who keep having babies and then somebody has, then one, is unalived and everybody's like, but didn't they know? So I don't know, was Kern County, did they experience something like that and they were being overly cautious? That could definitely be. But anyway, these two boys were taken away from their biological family, put into the foster care system, and eventually adopted by the West family. And so their birth names, as I have here, are Sincere Pettis and Classic Pettis, and they are, when they went missing on December 21st, they were 4 and Classic was 3. Again, if you want the whole playlist to catch up on this case, you please go see Dutyron. Another YouTuber that right from the beginning she was in the area. She lived near the area and she went and visited the area. She didn't get herself involved. She's a very ethical YouTuber, was Noor Jasmine, Noor, Jasmine spelled Jasmine. Her YouTube channel is Noor Jasmine. She was very careful about looking into this case, I would definitely go look at what she said. Yes, so we collectively heard about this case December 21st, 2020. And here we have, I call them the adoptive monsters, Jacqueline and Trezell West. This is Trezell, this is Jacqueline. This was their first interview given, and their story quickly fell apart. Their story did not match digital data found from the house very next door, and it also wasn't very logical. So right away, everybody was there. And you can find it in my playlist too. At first I was thinking, because the biological family showed up right away, I was like, how did they find them? Maybe they wanted them back and stole them. And no, I was completely wrong. But I personally didn't know that birth families knew adoptive families, but I guess if they're the foster family, so they were aware who these people were. But these people had lived in Bakersfield, California. They had 2 biological children, but they had 2 other adopted children, and then these boys. So 4 adopted, 2 biological. But it seems like, which is also why, you guys, I hate to say it, but I am for an orphanage system where we could watch more closely and have children live like in boarding school situations, which has its own problems. Yes, we know with SA stuff, and it has been a perpetual issue. I'm not saying it's perfect, but kids in foster homes, way more SA, way more horrible stuff happens. And for some reason I don't know if it still happens, they like to move kids around because they don't want them getting too used to a foster family when they might go back to the biological family. So they screw them up through and give them attachment disorders. I don't know, it's a weird system, but these people also, this fostering system, they get paid to take kids. More kids, more money. These 2 people, I guess she worked in healthcare once in a while, but they really didn't have, at this time, a job. But they were making like $4,000 a month, or maybe $8,000 in credits or something. I mean, you have to have a lot of kids, and I think if they're disabled, you get more. I don't know. It doesn't make sense what they were doing, but there has been credible evidence provided by their older children having to do with statements that they made, like, you don't have to play with these guys, like, just ignore them. Speaking of the two little boys, Sincere and Classic, which, again, they also had just adopted them. When did they adopt them? When they adopted them, they changed their names. They were already old enough to know their names, which I think is weird and speaks to their mind about what a person is. Because they're a child with a name. They've already lost their family. They've been in the foster care system. They need stability. And so you decide, well, yeah, but I want to call them. I don't know. It just seems weird and off to me. Like, they treated them like they were puppies, and they're not. So in December, these people right here were like, yeah, we did this, we did that. And they found out they didn't. They had just moved to California City, which is way outside Bakersfield. I think it's maybe 30 or 45 minutes away. It's not like hours and hours, but it's not right next to it. What came to be, if you followed the case, was that nobody actually saw Sincere and Classic ever go there. There's stuff inside, like dogs could find the scent of things inside the house, but never outside. And of the videotape that the neighbors had, you could see when Trezell and Jacqueline took children. They said that Orson and who they called Orson and Orrin were at home alone because their other 4 kids were with their grandparents in Bakersfield, and they were wrapping Christmas presents with the 2 younger ones, but they were 4 and 3, so they would know what their story didn't make any sense. And actually, it looks like those kids were never really in California City ever. what the defense, so they're on trial now for this. They were arrested. The bodies of the boys were never found, but there was enough evidence that they felt they could arrest them. And the two were fleeing, I believe. So the evidence mostly has come from the older children in the home, which is scary about what that does to a person to understand. And one of their charges that they have is that they compelled a minor to help in the commission of the crime, or like afterwards as a co-conspirator, which is disgusting. But we don't have the bodies of the boys yet, which is troublesome. So they are in court. They have both pled not guilty, and the boys' bodies haven't been found. So far, it seems like the defense has been that they have been discriminated against by especially by the California PD, that, oh, nobody can believe that somebody would steal 2 black babies. First of all, if you saw them, they're so cute, obviously. And people did look to see if they were taken. Here's how we know that they were big fat liars and they weren't taken that night. Supposedly they had just somehow gotten out. Somebody came to get them, I guess. But there was no evidence of anybody entering the yard or anybody around the yard on the security footage, number one. Number two, if they had like wandered away and were lost, immediately Cal City had like heat-seeking helicopters looking. They were looking with helicopters over and over again, landing, refueling, looking for any heat signature that could be like 2 little boys. I mean, there's absolutely zero evidence that those boys were ever in that house, let alone somehow left or somebody grabbed them. If they were grabbed, you would have seen somebody enter the house or be by the house, and the boys like being led out of the back of the gate somehow, which never, it wasn't on there. So the fact that the defense is trying to make this a racial thing, disgusting. Okay, so sorry, we will hear more. Maybe next time I update you, we will have a verdict. This is a nobody case, but I don't know. It's horrible. It's really horrible. This is one of those cases where I wish they were, if they had the death penalty on, they could play each person off each other so that somebody may tell, and what they would be able to get, not the death penalty, would be like to tell where the bodies are. The family deserves to have those children so that they can lay them to rest. They couldn't keep them in life. It would be great if they could get them at least to put them at rest. It's a really horrible case. So I'm sorry. I kind of I'm biased as a mother and as somebody who looked at all the evidence. I don't know. What do you think? If you could like or subscribe, tell me about it in the comments. That would be awesome. And let me know, did you follow this case? Are you following the trial? It's really strange. Everybody, they can't get enough of Murdaugh still. Like, and the whole weird thing about the ski thing and Gwyneth Paltrow, oh my God, who cares? I mean, these boys, that's more of a problem of, I don't know, if they were cute little white girls, would we have cared more? I don't know. Everybody talked about this case for a very long time. I just am surprised that nobody cares about this trial as much as they do about like JJ and Tylee. I mean, I guess the craziness of the cult stuff makes that worse. But these 2 little boys never got a break. So I will be keeping an eye on what happens. And if you want daily coverage and more specific information, please, I think Law and Order, the Court TV, they're covering it. But really, Duty Ron does a great job and a respectful job. I would go to his channel. So like and subscribe if you would. That'd be great. And I will see you with my next case.